Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, and for those of you that are new, my name is Luke, and well, Christmas came early for me because Hcalory hit me up in my email and they said, hey, we want to send you a sample of our thermal imaging camera, and you can say pretty much whatever you want about it, and we're not going to watch it before you post it. Just make sure it's at least 15 minutes long. Say whatever you want. So here we are. We're going to take their little thermal imager and put it through some testing. I'm a mechanic and DIYer and homeowner and all that good stuff. So we're going to try to think of a bunch of different examples that a thermal imaging camera would be good for. And then we want to point out some of the pros and cons of this model specifically. And then I will have a link to purchase one of these if you're interested down in the description. So be sure to check that out. With all that being said, let's go do some testing. All right, I suppose before we get into it, we should see how this thing does with its calibration and how it measures up to, I just have this little thermocouple here. I want to get a feel for what the thermal camera says versus what this says. The next thing that I want to see is how the camera does with reflective surfaces. Reflections can really cause a lot of inaccuracy in temp guns. Let's just start with the glass of ice water I've got here. And we'll throw in a thermocouple probe. Okay, and we're coming in just above freezing, kind of where I would have expected, around 34 degrees F. Now let's throw the cup of water under the thermal camera and see what it's saying. And that looks pretty good. It says right on the surface, 35 degrees so Fahrenheit. The next test that I wanted to do, I've got a wrench here, and let's just go ahead and heat it up. I mean, I guess we can even use the temp gun as our control. Saying about 500 degrees coming out of the tip. Okay, surface temp is reading right now 673. Camera's reading 500. But you'll just want to keep that in mind when you're using this tool. All right, so first impressions. I spent about, I don't know, I'd say a day or so messing around with it with the car and around the house looking for different examples and use cases. I know that I've seen, online some really great videos with home inspectors looking for leaks and such and things such like that. I don't have any active leaks in my house, luckily, so I wasn't able to demonstrate anything like that, but I was able to find some really good use cases and get a feel for the tool, and I really do enjoy it. I think that it's got a great screen and quality. I enjoy the sensitivity. It has a number of features, including taking pictures and recording. I haven't had a thermal imager in many years, and the one that I used to have broke, and it was a phone attachment one. And so when they reached out to me, they have a few different models that I could have tried out. I really wanted a dedicated tool for this. I think as technicians or DIYers, we reach a certain point where the multi-tool approach just doesn't really work as well anymore. And so having a dedicated thermal camera instead of one that I have to attach my phone, go to an app, oh, it's not up to date, let me adjust the setting or whatever. Just having a tool that I can just pick up and go when I need it, I think is a great addition to the shop, especially since this area here is going to be converted into kind of like a battery testing lab. And so that's one of the main use cases that I'll be using this tool for. So why don't you go ahead and subscribe if you'd like to see more content based around that. But let's get into some of the examples that I was able to film for you all. I think some of the strongest examples I have are automotive related just because of my background as a mechanic. Anyone that's either been a mechanic or knows a mechanic knows that we're under really tight restrictions for time. Any time that we can save is money earned. And so I thought there was some really good examples that I was able to capture of validating customer complaints. Now, this could be a friend or neighbor, or this could be in a professional capacity. One of the things that I really love thermal imaging or temp guns for is going to be tracking down brake issues, specifically caliper issues that could have been caused from like seized slide pins or a clogged brake line. Those are great cases where the rotors themselves you're going to see get really hot. To be able to do a quick visual around the vehicle and just hit all 4 tires with a thermal imager can be really not only time saving, but I really think it should be a part of your vehicle inspection if you have the chance. Usually with the vehicle inspection, we'll start with a test drive and then we'll bring it into our bay and give it a shakedown. If I was still working at the dealer, I would start with a test drive, go for a shakedown, but as soon as I brought it into my bay, I'd hit all the tires with the temp gun and just see how the condition of the brakes are. Could help me catch something early on or something that the customer isn't aware of yet, such as a sticking caliper, which can lead to warped rotors and other issues down the line. A couple other instances that I thought would be a great time saver for validating customer complaints are things like your window defrosters and your seat heaters. The seat heater element specifically, it's going to take a minute or two to get the car started up and get the elements in the seats warmed up. With the temperature sensitivity in the thermal imager that I was able to notice, even just a few degrees difference as they're just initially starting to warm up, where it wouldn't be warm to the touch yet, you can just look at it with your thermal imager, and that's already, maybe 5 minutes of time that you've saved right there. And anyone that's worked at the dealer knows 5 minutes is a lot of time saved. And then same kind of thing with the window defroster. I think that would be a great application for it. From a mechanic standpoint, as a professional or a DIYer, being able to validate complaints and being able to check for indications of brake issues without having to pull tires is a lifesaver on my back and on the time spent it would take, especially if you're doing this kind of job at home, where normally if you're looking for which caliper is sticking or if there's an issue like that, to safely jack up and pull a tire on all 4 tires in a driveway or a garage generally takes me somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes for all tires, depending on the configuration of the vehicle. So to be able to skip 45 minutes of jacking up, a car and pulling tires and just being able to take a quick glance with the thermal imager or a temp gun, I think is a great time saver. So some great applications there. The next thing that I kind of dove into, I think for having an electronics background, was parasitic draw. I have successfully done a parasitic draw diagnosis with thermal imaging years ago at an independent shop, and it was for a very intermittent complaint that was incredibly difficult to replicate. I can't remember the year, make, and model, but the scenario was the headlights would turn on in the car after it had been shut off and locked up to 2 to 6 hours later. The headlights were turned on. And so we were trying to figure out how we could capture which circuit it was on so we could figure out if it was a body control module issue. But it's a really interesting case study, but thermal imaging came in super clutch on that one. As far as parasitic draws are concerned, or another thing that I think we can all relate to with rising energy bills, is where are we wasting power? I think is another great application for this. If you're a homeowner or you're trying to save some money, taking a look around at your electrical panel, your kitchen appliances, maybe your workstation, your office, your desk. There's some appliances and items that we have around the home that when we turn them off, they actually turn off, and some that simply just go into a standby mode. I think one of the biggest examples of this is my Keurig for making coffee. I got a great shot of the kitchen. You can see it next to my ice maker, which is just in the off position, and my toaster. But my Keurig is just lit up like a Christmas tree, and you can see it's just on standby in between me making cups of coffee. But you know, with a rising electric bill, that shows me, hey, I need to actually unplug that appliance or at least completely shut it down, because while it's in standby, it is drawing a certain amount of current. And that's what we see when we see heat with your appliances, with things on your desk, through a fuse box, through your electrical panel. That's indicating that there's actual current flow that's taking place, and that current flow is causing the circuit to heat up. And so we can get a really good idea of what circuits are alive, and kind of a general idea of how much current they're pulling relative to other things based off of the thermals that we're able to capture. So just to go over some of the functions that I liked, it does have a dedicated flashlight, which I like. There is a laser pointer. You can adjust the sensitivity settings, which is something really nice. It even has like the settings will be like testing, are you looking at lava or an ice storm or whatever. And that was great. And then the quick trigger function on it for capturing an image or a video seems to be like a really useful feature. It's really comfortable, it's well weighted, and there is a 1/4-20 threaded insert in the bottom. So if you need to mount it to a tripod or a stand, if you're doing something like long-term monitoring where you don't want to just be sitting there and holding it, you can easily mount it, which is how I got all the footage with it that I did. I tried to like hold it with the camera, and it was just way too much going on. It was really distracting, and there was no way. So I just mounted this to a tripod really quick, just a little $15 tripod, and was able to just kick it up, make sure I had in view what I needed, and then I was able to just film that. So those are some of the things that I did really like. The one downside that I did see with this tool that I want to speak on, and you're going to notice this with the shot that I got on the electrical panel and with the defroster, where it's like those midday shots, trying to get the screen does seem to wash out a little bit. I don't imagine you'll be using this outside in the middle of the day. I don't really think that's the application for it, but it is a downside that I noticed. I wish the screen brightness would have been a bit stronger, but I am fairly close to the sun where I'm at, and it does get super bright. So even things that, looking at my phone and stuff can be difficult to do in these conditions. So I am being a little bit nitpicky about that. I think outside of being in the middle of the day in broad daylight, I was able to see the screen really well in all the other use cases. So with all that being said, that is the Hcalory handheld thermal camera. Go check out the descriptions down below, and I'll catch you on the next one.